Okay, section 8.3. Now, the great thing about 8.3, 8.4, 8.5 is it starts to feel a lot like chapter 7. Is like, apart from minor differences, they're all the same. You just put everything in your calculator, slightly different buttons, same way there was in 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4. Okay, so 8.3, all right, this is a yes or no question. Do you prefer chocolate ice cream? Okay, that's definitely a yes or no question. That's prop. Okay, this is about proportions of people who like chocolate ice cream. So if I was in chapter 7, that would be a 1 prop z interval. But this is a 1 prop z test. Okay, this is why it starts to feel a little like chapter 7. It's all the same buttons, except I use them with the word test instead of with the word interval. But it's a lot of the same procedures. All right, so now let me follow what I'm supposed to do. Step 1, write hypotheses. So I have to read through all this stuff up here and find the hypothesis. Okay, that's the claim. All right, 430 out of 1,000. That's someone actually did some work. Someone went out there, asked some people, got some numbers. Okay, claims are just things people say off the top of their head. So I'm going to test a claim that 40% prefer chocolate. Okay, that's the test. That's the claim. That's the only thing that goes in H0 and HA. And you have to do this step before you can move on to your calculator. Okay, so now forget reading all the other lines. 40% prefer chocolate. Okay, I don't see any mores, greater, less, least, most. I don't see any of those kind of words. I just see 40%. Oh, good, I love that kind. Okay, so that's an equals situation. And, you don't write down percent, so I'm going to write that. And you can use whatever letter you want here. That really doesn't make any difference. And I don't use 430 or 1,000 or even the 0.01. Okay, I just write down the claim, just that one number. That's the only one that goes in there. Like I don't get a 0.43 over there or anything like that. I take just the claim and I write it down. That was step 1. Step 2 and step 3, go to the calculator and get Z and P. Now there's a formula in the notes if you want to do it the long way. I mean, the notes takes it through all the way through with the long way, but okay, 1 prop Z test. Stat tests. Okay, you figure it's kind of like near 1 prop Z interval. Stat test. In fact, you've buzzed past it when you were on your way down to intervals. It's like choice number 5, 1 prop Z test. And if you ever accidentally ended up here when you were trying to do an interval, you find out there's just like, oh, what am I supposed to fill in for all these? I don't have enough numbers for all of this. But now you do. You got more numbers now. Okay. It says P with a little 0. And I'm supposed to put something there. The number that goes there, and I always think the claim was made by some other person, some person who has no idea, who just randomly says stuff off the top of their head. That's the other person. Okay, me, I'm statistician. I'm always going to think of myself as the person that went out and got actual numbers. So P0 is supposed to be a 0, but I always think of it as an O for other person. All right, so I put their number there. 0.4. 0.40 if you want. All right, now I take my numbers and I put those into the other spots. So X is 430 out of N is, I talked to 1,000 people. Then I get down to that next line. Now you can't enter any numbers into that next line whatsoever. You could just arrow your way. You can select one of those 3 things. That's all you can do. Okay, and what I do is I select the one that matches HA. Okay, I can't get any of the letters in the problem to match anything. All I can do is match that sign. So the first one has a not equal sign in it, so put the cursor on that and hit enter to make it stick. Okay, this is how, when I said that whole fuss about tails, this is how the calculator is going to know that fuss about tails, is I'm telling it right there. When I tell it, what you see right there is a not equals that, oh, it goes, oh, it's a 2-tailed. Okay, so you just get whatever sign is in that line matches whatever you wrote down on HA, and that's what goes there. And then I go down to calculate and hit enter. And it gives me a bunch of stuff. It gives me a Z, which I'm supposed to write down because that was part of the question, 1.936, I'll call it 1.94. P is 0.0528. I'm going to call it 0.053. Okay, and then there's a P with 3 little pixels on the top of it. That's not P. P with 3 little pixels just says that this is like 40. I got 43%. Other person got 40%. I got 43%. It's just telling me that in case I didn't know. But it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with the problem. Just in case you were curious, by the way, yours came out as 43%. The ones for get Z and get P don't involve little pixels. Okay, so I did get Z and get P. So now I'm ready to move on to reach conclusion, which I do by myself without the calculator. Okay, I take my p-value, 0.053, and I compare it to the one in the significance. Okay, and sometimes they give you significance. If they don't, it's 5%. All right, I've compared it to that significance right there. And it's better than that significance. They have a 5.3% chance of actually knowing what they're talking about. Okay, and this is my let it slide number. If they have even a 1%, this is what this says, if they have even a 1% chance of knowing what they're talking about, I'm going to let it slide. Okay, they do. They have more than a 1% chance of knowing what they're talking about. They have a 5.3% chance of actually knowing what they're talking about. So I'm going to let it slide. And the way to officially write down let it slide is fail to reject age 0. Okay, now that doesn't say accept age 0. It doesn't say make them into my best friend ever. It just says, well, yeah, okay. All right, I guess maybe you might. I'll just slink back to my office and say nothing. Okay, that's what fail to reject means, is you never use the word accept. There's only reject and fail to reject, and this is fail to reject.